Let's get the party started.
Oh, baby!
When was the last time you shit your pants?
You think I'm a goddamn fool?
I shit my pants last night.
It's a beautiful planet. Well, it's a moon, for sure.
I'm sick and tired of all this bullshit. Put that in your package, folks.
What's up, everybody? Josh from the Clearing Waivers podcast coming at you with another episode this week. One day late. You know, life happens sometimes, so we're doing a little bit late, but rest assured, it is a great show. We've got a lot to talk about. Very excited about some more Royals talk. Very Royals heavy again this week, with the Chiefs not really doing much and March Madness not really kicking off just yet. But we are very excited about talking Royals once again with our new residency at Royals Review. If you haven't checked out royalsreview.com, definitely go check it out. If you're coming to them via us, definitely go give them a look. If you're part of Royals Review already, welcome. We appreciate having you listen to the Clearing Waivers podcast. Appreciate all the support, whether it's through Royals Review or the podcast. But yeah, we're going to get to clearing the waivers tonight. We're going to talk about a couple reasons why we are optimistic about the Royals, a couple reasons why we are pessimistic about the Royals, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of the new Royals Hall of Fame vote coming up. We've got some options and some opinions to get off of our chests, if you will. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and then get some shenanigans. But before we do that, let's check in with the co-host this week. Kitty, how was your week?
It's a good week. Had to go get a nasal swab today due to some close contact with someone that tested positive. So
Ooh,
first
how'd that go?
COVID test, that nasal swab, that's something, man.
Yeah.
Really
tickle your brain a little bit.
Really does tickle your brain. I was gripping that steering wheel pretty tight while that thing was up there.
Nice.
But all came back, quick test, all negative. So everything's
There
good.
you go. Back in the lineup. Here you are.
Ready to go. That's right. I can. So the home game. I could have gone back on the road again this week.
It's true.
Home game it is.
Okay. Well, we're home game. That's home field advantage is always in our favor. Brian, how was your week?
I mean, it was the same week that I've had for the past year, pretty much. So I'm not sure what even happened. It just all seems like a blur. I'm just glad there's a light in the tunnel and no COVID test for me. So
Yep.
Give me that vaccine, baby.
Yep, that's right. We'll hope to get that soon and we get out of our nightmare. But it's wild that it's been just about a year since kind of coming up on the year anniversary of all this stuff kind of starting in, or at least shutting us all down and doing this the way that we've been living life. But
yeah, it was the conference basketball tournaments.
Yep.
We were at work. They were just kicking off, and everybody's like, well, are we going to keep playing basketball? They're like, well, yeah, we're going to keep playing basketball.
Sure, yeah. No, that's fine.
We're not going to keep playing basketball. It's like, I guess we're not going to keep playing basketball either. And then it's like, it felt like the world was ending in a day.
Yep.
Yeah,
I do remember.
I was at the Big 12 tournament games that Wednesday night to watch K-State play. Maybe that was, I think, can't remember if they were the first, second game that night, but I watched one of the last basketball games played last year. So.
There you go. Yep.
Yep.
It was
quite exciting.
It'll be tough to forget the night that everything kind of all started shutting down. Is like Rudy Gobert thing happened. Tom Hanks got it, and then the whole world fell apart after Tommy Hanks got it. So that was the first indicator for COVID for our household. But I do remember putting the kids to sleep and seeing just the flies dropping, like this person's got it now, this person's got it now. Okay, shut it all down. Down.
And then it was like a Thursday or Friday, and you heard rumors that the mayor was going to shut down the city, and you're like, I guess we better live it up this weekend.
Yep. Get our happiness meter, because we might not be able to go out for a few weeks, guys.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Might be down for a month. We'll be good. Never back and roll again.
Pass right over, and everything will be fine. Well, on to more uplifting things. We've got to clear some waivers here.
We're clearing the waivers.
As we said last week, start of spring training happened. The hope rings the new the spring training for especially Royals fans across the Kansas City area and across the world. Let's just go that way. But we leading into spring training, we've had some internal discussions amongst ourselves that we think that this fan base is way too pessimistic on these Royals. There are reasons to be optimistic about this, and we're going to find them here. We've all got one apiece that we're going to kind of bring to the table and show you how optimistic that we're going to be. but we're also going to live in the real world, and we're going to come back and hit you with a little pessimism on the end of it. So let's get to the optimism first and the good news first. We're going to start with that. Kitty, I'm going to start with you. What is your reason for being optimistic about the Royals this year?
Mine is the pitching talent that is so close to making it. The
Oh, yeah.
most expensive currency in baseball is pitching. So you never have too much, and all signs point to the Royals having a lot of potential good major league starting pitching arms coming up. We got Singer
Mhm.
and Bubic that came up last year and pitched the whole season basically, and then you got Lynch, Kowar, and Lacey just waiting in the wings, knocking on the door. Hopefully, come this year, and hopefully we'll see at least one, hopefully two, maybe all three, even at some point this year if they prove worthy of getting the call up and just force the Royals' hand.
Mhm.
And with that, you've got Keller to lead the rotation, which is kind of the sneaky ace of Major League Baseball, if you will.
He gets
Doesn't
lost in the shuffles like every time. Like he's
Yeah,
just as young as any of these guys are.
Yeah, it's true too. He's just not flashy. He doesn't have that power
Nope.
arm that gets you 10 Ks a game, where everyone kind of the new model of baseball is at this point, where
Mhm.
you want, give me strikeouts, but he just gets the job done day in, day out. Every fifth day, he's taking the ball, does his job, gets you to 6 or 7 innings. All right, bullpen, finish it off for me.
Mhm.
And then even with these young arms, you got Duffy and Minor ready to take 2 spots in rotation. And I don't think the Royals at this point either, if those young guys prove worthy, will have any reservations of throwing Duffy or Minor into the bullpen
Sure.
if need be. So that's kind of a nice spot to be, where you don't have a fifth starter type that's blocking a young guy because they
Yep.
don't want to move him up the rotation, or he's been paid too much money to move him off the rotation.
Mhm.
So
Or
I
they
feel
could
like
go. They could save a little arm, little tread on the tires, and go 6-man rotation this year.
that too,
Nothing's
or
against the
even
Royal.
or if you feel like maybe putting one of the young guys in the bullpen too to save some,
Yeah.
is you can give him the kind of a swingman role where he comes in out of the bullpen if someone's struggling, get 3 innings that way every few days. There's a lot of options, a lot of arms. I feel like that's the hardest thing to do in baseball, is to create a legitimate 5-man rotation, and the Royals really do appear to be knocking on the door of having one of those.
For sure. Yep, I like that. It's no secret that the pitching depth is certainly there, and it seems like there's really good ceiling to him too. I think we've been talking about him for the last 3 years as a fan base, and we just couldn't wait for them to get to that point. And I mean, like you said, Singer, Bubic already here, Lynch, Kowar, and Lacey theoretically knocking on the door. We could see all 5 of them this year at some point, but we'll see how it all goes here. I do appreciate the spring training, getting to see a lot of those dudes. I haven't seen Lacey yet,
Right.
but seeing Kowar and Lynch and seeing those guys regularly is really, really cool. So I'm excited to be able to actually watch Royals baseball for a little bit, and then we'll see how the rest of this all works out. But it is fun to see those guys pitch to theoretically major leaguers. So
Yep.
it's good to see that. Kowar, nasty changeups today. Nasty changeups. Brian, what's your reason for optimism here?
We'll play off what you guys just said, though. First of all, I am leading the fanboy of Brad Keller. I love Keller. And like you
Yep.
said, I don't think he gets enough hype. I know we call him Bad Brad, but I really want to start referring to him as the Clydesdale, because he is a
Ooh.
Clydesdale.
Yeah.
He's big,
There you go.
he's strong, and when you need him to carry you to 6 or 7 innings, he's got no problem. He says, "Get on my
Yep.
back. I'm going to get you to those back into the relievers. If our relievers need a break, I'm getting you to 6 and 7, and we're going to win this game." So
Not
Keller's a
flashy.
Clydesdale. Yep,
Yeah,
I
Not a
love it.
stallion. He's a
Workhorse.
Clydesdale, baby.
Workhorse,
I like that.
baby. But
I can really
no,
get behind that.
so my
Like
deal
it.
with this is, if you are kind of a casual fan of the Royals, and after they won the World Series and they got bad again, you kind of checked out. I get it. They weren't playing great baseball. It's hard to watch day in and day out of a team that's losing. But I'm telling you, now is the time to jump back in. Dive back in. Watch these guys play every day, because they are good all-around baseball team. They are good on defense. They got a strong lineup top to bottom, maybe a couple holes there, but as a whole, I expect big things out of the lineup. I love our starting rotation, as Kitty said. I love our bullpen. They've proven one of the best in baseball last year. I think they finished in top 10-ish, depending on what stats you want to use. But everything's there for this team to become a winner. And like we've said before, when like the win totals came out, and we're always, more optimistic about it than Vegas is. They want them somewhere between 70 and 73 wins.
I would call us more optimistic among Royals fans,
yes,
to be completely honest.
A lot of times.
Yes.
A lot of times, yeah.
But I see this team as being, like I said before, it's closer to the 2013 team as the team that's probably not going to compete for the playoffs right now, but they're going to win a lot of games and show you what they're building towards. And I went back and looked at that 2013 team. They went 86 and 76. From the season before, they were 72 and 90. So they made a huge leap. And really the only additions they made were they added Shields and Irvin Santana to the rotation. That 2013 team still had starts from Luis Mendoza, Wade Davis, and Bruce Chin. And if you're asking me if I want to have this roster that we have right now or the 2013 roster, I'll take what we got now. So that's the kind of hope that I have for this team. I mean, that lineup in 2013 wasn't anything to write home about either. We were still messing around with Chris Getz, for God's sakes. So, I mean, I like this team. I think they're fun to watch. And as we've said before, when Josh Staumont comes in the game, it's must-watch TV, baby. It's pouring watching him pitch. It's 103 gas and a hammer on his curveball. So anytime he enters the game, it's must-watch TV. I'm just excited about this team, and I'm imploring everybody to dive back in. This is a team to start watching. You need to start learning who these guys are because they've added real pieces, as we talked about before, that's just going to make this team stronger than they were last year.
What did you say that 2013 record was?
86 and 76.
Wow.
What was the year before that?
72 and 90.
So here's the fun part. In 2020, they were on a 70 and 92 pace, meaning this year is that 86 win team, 86 win season. So yeah, I like that. Get on board now because it's going to start getting real exciting really fast. I love every point of that.
Onto that, I think you can make an easy claim that when they added James Shields and Irvin Santana, which were two legitimate starters at the time, Irvin was kind of coming off an approve it deal, but James Shields was an established player. I mean, you could make the argument, Carlos Santana, Mike Minor, Andrew Benintendi upgrading you in left field as far as the bat goes. I mean, I feel like they could make a bigger impact overall than even James Shields and Irvin Santana did to that team.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. The impact of James Shields, I think also he was one of those guys that his impact went way beyond the field. Clubhouse guy, just really just teaching the younger players how to win, how to take care of yourself day in, day out, just how to be a real, true major leaguer and win games. And I think Carlos Santana has that pedigree where he could be another guy that could teach some of the younger guys that same mentality or have that same mentality is be out there every day winning ball games, and just comes from winning organizations that he's been with.
And like we said, adding Gerard Dyson, but I mean, it may not make a whole lot of sense baseball wise, but clubhouse presence guys, I mean, everyone's going to listen to what Gerard has to say, and he's been on winning teams. He knows what it takes. So yeah, I'm all about Dayton is also all about that aspect of it that kind of gets lost when you're just looking at a game that's driven by numbers, right? I mean, these guys, they're bringing in for reasons other than just they can contribute numbers wise. I mean, they can help these younger guys get better and take that next step.
Sure. And I think one of the main players that kind of benefited the most from James Shields coming over was Danny Duffy. And I feel like Danny Duffy is now that role player. So we're still potentially benefiting from that James Shield trade in the way of James Shields' professional etiquette and just how he does things being passed on to Duffy, who is actually taking on the mentor role and running with it. And if you keep him around these young pitchers and kind of, I mean, you're just going to kind of keep shooting off that wisdom that James Shields potentially brought back in that trade, which, I mean, it's more like a ripple effect type of thing. Everything trickles down and impacts everybody. And I kind of think that that's what Danny Duffy's role is on that team. So anybody who wants to come after Danny Duffy's hide, you're going to have to come through me and my dead corpse first.
In the fog machine in the locker room.
And we're going to be blaring 1738. Jeremy Guthrie's going to be in the corner giving me Ric Flairs. My reason for optimism, basically, Brian, you kind of hinted on a little bit, is this lineup is not to be messed with anymore. There's not 4 or 5 holes in that lineup anymore. There might be 2, and there's probably 2, maybe 3, depending on what Mondesi does. But that's also one hell of a wild card to have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
If you're playing deuces wild and Mondesi is your deuce, boy, that's one hell of a thing to kind of have on the back burner. But none of that young kitties kind of brought to the kitchen with the young pitchers is going to matter whenever you have Chester Cuthbert playing first base, or Kelvin Gutierrez, or Bubba Starling, or Ryan O'Hearn. He might be in the best shape of his life, or any of these Dayton de jour guys that are just kind of trying to fill in, rebound, and prove that they can still play this game. We don't have that anymore. There's still Nicky Lopez trying to make something work. Michael A. Taylor still has yet to be seen. And we'll see how that kind of goes. But that's just 2 guys. We have 7 spots legitimately that can make it ring every time they're up to bat. And I'm pumped about that. Last season's offense had a 92 OPS plus, just below average. But they had the 5th lowest runs per game in the majors, the 4th lowest on base percentage, the 7th worst average with runners in scoring position, and the 6th worst OPS with runners in scoring position. You're basically taking Bubba out of the lineup for Michael A. Taylor, and Bubba had a 544 OPS over the last 2 seasons. So even like bad Michael A. Taylor, he's projected to go 687 OPS this year. That's already an improvement.
Right. And he brings a defense, so
yes,
he's not a 0 out there. It's not,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And
you can get away with that.
It's a can't lose deal. So it's, it is what it is. And I feel like Gerard Dyson is kind of the Michael A. Taylor insurance, but I mean, Michael A. Taylor is leading the Royals in OPS in the spring training. So I think last I saw it was like he had like 1,800 OPS for spring training right now.
6 at bats, 7 at bats there. That's perfect.
Yeah, something like
Keep
that.
it up.
But you're also potentially bringing Carlos Santana, projected to have a 785, replacing Ryan O'Hearn with a 638 OPS over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Brian, you mentioned Benintendi over Gordo. It's a 762 to 710 benefit or improvement. And even Nicky Lopez is projected to have a 640 OPS, better than a 586. So even those additions, they're going to be an improvement in and of itself. And this team, after their 3-10 start, they went 23-24 the rest of the season. When Keller came back, when Dozier came back, when O'Hearn came back, they actually played just under 500 ball. It did take one hell of a streak there at the end to kind of get that point, but I mean, that's nothing to snub your nose at. That's just under 500 is much better than a 100 loss season. So I'll take that any day. And I'm going to say it here. I said improve Nicky Lopez to improve the lineup over last season's Nicky Lopez. But there's a young man. Some call him the future of the Kansas City Royals. And he is putting on a hell of a show, whether it's on defense, making diving catches in the back of the infield at second base, or hitting 480-foot bombs over the fence. Bobby Witt Jr. is one hell of a talent, and I am finding it hard to believe. I'm just saying, I find it hard to believe that he cannot do and bring more to the table than Nicky Lopez. We said it last week that it's probably not. I mean, we wanted Brady Singer to be kept down for that 6 days, so we got that extra year. But it's go time. We're not messing around anymore in Kansas City. You either produce or get the hell out of the way. And I feel like Bobby Witt Jr. has put and said way more on the field than Nicky Lopez has so far, whether it's the alt site news coming out or everything we've seen from the summer camp up to spring training now. It just seems like he has better at bats. He's just doing things all around better than Nicky Lopez right now. He probably still needs to show that on an everyday basis. I haven't seen any alt site information, just going off of what they've said did happen, but I am not so sold that he is not better than Nicky Lopez in this lineup right now.
I mean, it'd be hard to be a worse bat than Nicky Lopez at this point right now. So you've got that going for him. And
sure.
I mean, I would really like to see Bobby Witt Jr. start the year at second base.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It seems like, go Brian.
I mean, on the other side of that, this as far as I know, would be basically a completely unprecedented move to have a guy that's played essentially one minor league season coming out of high school. This has
He
happened
did.
with guys coming out of college. He came out of high school and he played rookie ball in minor leagues.
Right.
So this would be a completely wild move. That being said, I don't want a GM or a franchise that wants to live in a box and says, you got to have 750 at bats in the minors before you get to sniff the majors. You got to prove your worth at the minors before you can get to the majors. I don't want that GM, and Dayton has said it all along. It's usually referring to pitchers. When they're ready, I'm not holding them back.
He doesn't game service time, Brian. He doesn't
game
do it.
service time.
Right.
And I will say last year was completely unprecedented time. Typically, these guys come up through the minors grinding. They have to prove each level that they can handle that level. Last summer, Bobby Witt Jr. every day got to face our best pitching prospects that he wouldn't have faced if he was at single A. We have a system where we have the best pitching prospects in baseball, some would say, as a group that are ready to break through. He faced these guys every day. So everything that came out of that summer camp said, this guy's incredible. I mean, they couldn't stop talking about him. They didn't need to talk about him. This guy should not even be talked about. He's 3 years away from being ready, right?
A non-starter. Yeah.
These weren't fans saying this. These were coaches. These were his players on the field with him saying, this guy's incredible. In spring training this year, they asked him about Bobby Witt Jr. Players like Hunter Dozier, Whit Merrifield, Danny Duffy, they say this guy's a freak. I mean, it's not just fans that are pumping up a prospect for once. It's the guys on the team, and it's guys in the system that are coaching him saying, we can't explain it type of thing. Like every day he does something that we just can't really explain to you. So we may be dealing with a special player here. I mean, when you look at it's a completely different game, but you look at basketball. When LeBron James came out of high school, any other kid coming out of high school, you probably say, okay, if you throw them in the NBA, they're going to have to earn their stripes for a few years before they can really contribute to anything.
Right.
LeBron James coming out of high school, and he was the man. He was the man on the Cavs immediately. Like, it's very rare that something like this happens, but is it happening here? I mean, we're not the ones pumping him up, right? This is coming from the team.
I mean, we are too, but we are living in a land of Patrick Mahomes as our quarterback. So maybe we are looking a little bit tainted, a little rose-colored glasses type of thing.
But I mean, I get the pessimists or the realists, as they all want to call themselves. Pessimists always want to say they're realists, right?
Yeah, right here. Oh, that's me.
They want to say, fans are pumping up this guy. They don't even know. They have no idea how to develop how development works of a prospect, blah, 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 blah. I get that. I get Twitter chirping, all that stuff. They don't know shit. What we're hearing is coming from internally. Like, this is totally different than any prospect we've ever had on this team, as far as I can remember. I mean, they're pumping up Daniel Lynch, but Daniel Lynch came out of college. He's much more ready to be thrown into the fire early. So, I mean, I get people saying pump the brakes on expectations here, but I also say it's not nothing that they're starting him at second base quite frequently now.
Regularly,
when Mondesi's not even starting at shortstop. They're starting Hanser over there or somebody else, and he's starting at second. I mean, I don't think that's not nothing. I mean, they know that second base was a hole for them last year, and so far, Nicky hasn't shown them anything different. So they're giving him real looks at second base against starting major league pitchers that are getting their works early in the game instead of bringing them in the seventh inning. When I go back through and look at the starting lineups they trotted out there, they don't start many guys that have zero chance of starting with this team.
Yep, bingo.
I went back and looked, and like Kyle Isbell started a couple games. He's probably not going to break with the team, right? Other than that, Eric Mejia, I think, started at shortstop one day. He's probably not going to break with the team.
Kelvin Gutierrez probably has a start or two as well.
But those guys are completely different than what we're talking about with Bobby Witt Jr. And he's getting looks that no other young guy would be getting. And I just think there might be something to it. Dayton told us basically before spring training started that, there's really no way he's going to start in the minors. And we're going to do this traditional way. And I bet they're having talks this spring about is this really going to be a discussion now? God, by the end of spring
Right.
training, I wonder if it's not a real discussion.
You know,
Well, I wonder how much the spring training for AAA or all those some levels are just getting pushed back a month.
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Is it worth having him do extended spring
great
training
point.
for another month rather than just playing MLB games?
Yep. And
So.
they, speaking of that conversation, I think Matheny's already been on the record being like, I got to keep telling myself that it's not an option. I got to keep saying that, you know, that we can't have Bobby Witt on this team yet. And I think the closer we get to it, the more case that he's making, the more resume he's building. I'm very interested to see where we are at this point. I mean, it was the same situation as Fernando Tatis last year with the Padres. He played really well in spring training, pretty much knocking on the door. He did have a really good season and a half in the minors to kind of back up that part, but still, 20 years old at the time, 19, and a bunch of players lobbied to be like, he needs to be up here now. Let's go ahead and do this. So that's kind of what it reads to me a little bit is that situation. Like Brian said, we're not ins and outs of developing a prospect. We are not able to peer behind the curtain, but like Brian said, these are trained eyes that are saying this. These are people that look at players every day, hundreds of players every day, and they are still kind of going out of their way to talk about how good Bobby Witt Jr. is. And that, my friends, is smoke. And
Yep.
where there's smoke, there is some fire in it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think we're pretty optimistic as a group here. Their Vegas over-under win is 72.5 this season. And I honestly think that that's easy money. I feel like that is a very, very easy bet to get the over on that. So, like I said, we have a little bit optimism. We're kind of known for that, especially in the Kansas City fan base. So we're going to bring it back. We're going to give you a little bit on the other end. We're going to get a little pessimistic on this team. I'm going to go first here.
Yep.
Better might not mean playoff bound. Playoff bound still seems very much like a pipe dream. And I think that speaks, they're going to be better. No doubt. In my mind, they're going to be better than they were last year. But they have a gauntlet in that American League. They are one of 9 teams, I think, on that tier in my head that are vying for a 6 to 8 team expanded postseason, depending on what they decide. I still don't think they've decided on that beer, but yeah, I think the Yankees, White Sox, Rays, Blue Jays, and Astros probably have a better roster on paper. I think that they are definitely in good shape to be better than the Royals here. But then I got them on the same tier as kind of like the Twins, the A's, the Indians, and the Angels. All those probably have less like, if this happens, then it'll be fine, and they're gonna be making the postseason. But I think you can make a case that they're right there with the Royals as far as, you know, it could happen type of thing. I'm not scared of any of those other teams, and I would probably put the Royals up against them any day of the week and expect them to compete and be right there with them. But I'm also not naive to completely forget about what happened in the last 5 seasons. 2017, 81 and 81. That was 2016, 81, 81. 2017, 80 and 82. 2018, 58 and 104. 2019, 59 and 103. And then, like I said, last year was a 70 and 92 pace. They currently have the second worst odds to win the AL Central at plus 4,000.
Wow.
Cleveland is plus 700 with third place. I can't believe plus 4,000 is what the Royals are bringing in. Their third worst odds to win the AL outright, and they have the 7th lowest over-under in the league at 72.5. So I think that this team is going to be better for sure. And like I said, I think it's going to be easy money to hit the over on wins, but I'm still not necessarily as optimistic about them making the playoffs at this point. I think there's still plenty of teams that could hurt their chances to make the postseason. But you know, anything could happen at this point. But I just think it's a very crowded field in the American League, especially. So that's why I'm pessimistic on the Royals this season. Not necessarily, I think they'll be an improvement, but it's going to be a tough road to haul if you're thinking postseason here. So.
Right, and the Central, you're hoping maybe the Indians have fallen off. Maybe they haven't been able to retool again that quickly with all the guys they got rid of. But the White Sox look pretty good. The Twins have just seem like they just smoke and mirrors their way to 95 wins every year now.
Unbelievable. I don't know.
It's
They're so old, man. They're so old balls in the meat of their lineup.
so it's just still a tough division to get through to
Sure.
break through into that top spot or top 2 range just to get to that postseason. So it's still
Yep.
as optimistic as you can be. It's still there's still some horses in the division you got to work out. I mean, Tigers. Hopefully, we can beat up on them this year.
They could be a little frisky as well. They got a very good
A lot of
core
young
too.
guys.
Yep.
But
We'll see.
yeah, I'm totally ready. The Twins, I need them to find that cliff and fall off because I'm ready to go mano a mano with White Sox fans. They can kiss
there we
my
go.
ass. Every year we got to hear about how great their new prospect is. And I mean, they're a very good team and a very dangerous team. They'll probably win the division this year. If I were picking one, I think the Twins would take a step back and the White Sox would probably win it. But
White Sox are minus 130 to win it.
okay.
Oh, God.
I'm ready to go to war the next 4 years with those assholes.
Not next year. 2 years. 2 years.
We'll see.
I don't know how long our window's open, but
They beat our brains in last season.
Oh,
If
they
that's-
sure did.
if that's when Bobby Witt Jr. is ready to take the reins of this team, who knows what we can do.
Yep. True story. Let's go into Brian. What's your reason for pessimism?
Oh yeah, we're going pessimist. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we're pessimist.
I'm getting back off.
We still going.
Even my even my
With all that.
pessimism was still pretty optimistic.
All right. So
We're
my
realists
reason,
here.
my reason, my reasoning for it may not turn out the way we all hope it should be. Would be the bullpen, which was the strength of this team last year, could quickly become a weakness for this team. I feel like because I think they're going to start this year with many of these veteran guys. They're trying to see what they have left. I think I could definitely see Wade Davis, Brad Brock, both being in the bullpen.
Mhm.
Kyle Zimmer, Jesse Hahn, for other reasons, have kind of let you down in the past with their injuries. Wade Davis looked good to start in Colorado, and then it just kind of fell apart for him. So will that happen as the season goes along? Brad Brock kind of has the same. He was one of the most dominant too a few years ago, and he kind of fell off the map. Is he really recovered? Greg
Brian
Holland.
Madsen. Let's say Brian Madsen.
Yeah, Brian Madsen. We could be looking at like a Braden Mauter situation where we stick with one of these guys a little too long when we've got young guys chomping at the bit to take their role. I just hope we don't stick with a guy that's looking not up to par as long as we have in the past. Because like you said, time's running out and the window's here. We need to do whatever we can to make this team the best it can be.
Yep.
And I mean, Greg Holland has a major league. He was one of the best relievers in the majors last year in the shortened season.
Sub
But
2 ERA.
We've seen him on the second half of the year kind of fall apart and get released by teams through the years too. So I expect some of these guys to turn into pumpkins at some point, and we have to replace them. I don't think they're going to be all those guys are going to be as dominant as they were last year. So it's just going to be a matter of being able to pull the trigger on some of those guys that we may be personally invested in and, sentimental value. Because we do have young arms chomping at the bit to contribute to this team. And so I think the bullpen is an area that could go from a strength to a weakness unless they're willing to make moves to shore it up.
Sure. I think that's fair for sure. There's a lot of youth in there too. And I mean, young relievers are volatile, but I do think that they do have some pretty good depth in that bullpen as well. So we'll see how that goes. Kitty, what's your reason for pessimism here?
All right. Even after my optimistic reason of pitching, my pessimism is Royals can't develop starting pitching. I mean, since Dayton took over as GM, our drafts from 2007 to basically 2017 turned up jack shit.
Yeah, not great.
I mean, Danny Duffy, third round pick in 07. That's basically all you've got out of 12 years of drafts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is. I mean, I'm going to go first rounders only. And they haven't even lucked into anybody except Jake Junis in 2011, who was the 29th rounder. Like a lot of teams, like their pitching staffs aren't all first rounders.
Right.
You look into a guy that somehow you teach him another pitch and lights turn on and he's becomes a starting pitcher in the majors. I mean, there is nobody that the Royals have drafted before 2018, aside from Duffy, that is a major league pitcher. It's bizarre.
You
I
can
mean,
probably count Sean Mania.
that was one I
he's a
had on the
comp
list.
pick.
Yeah, 2013, but he got moved to the Oakland A's so quickly in his career as a Royal that we didn't really do a whole lot for him. But like,
Sure.
here's look at these fun names.
I don't
Let's
want
see.
to. I don't want
Mike,
to.
Mike Montgomery, 2008. At least but he got traded away before making a major, so I'm not sure how much the Royals had to do with him. Aaron Crow, 2009. Kyle
MIZ.
Zimmer, 2012. Sean Manaea, 2013. Finnegan in 2014. He was part of the Cueto trade, but that worked out pretty well for us.
Yep.
2014, another one, Foster Griffin.
No.
Yeah.
Want to hear these names? I have no idea who they are.
Ash Russell and Nolan Watson.
There they are. Ash Russell, Nolan Watson. Who the hell are these guys? That's how bad those first round draft picks were.
They're still in the system. Ash Russell took a little break, little hiatus. He had a little episode, I think Greinke-esque type of episode, but he's
little
apparently back in the
issues.
system. Nolan Watson also is apparently doing well, so we'll see.
All right, well, good. Let's hope they turn
Jury
things
could
around.
still be
But
out.
that's you never know. But I
Late
mean,
bloomers.
that's pathetic.
Not good.
Just absolutely pathetic to only basically have Danny Duffy out of 10 years, 12 years of drafting.
I can't remember. Was Hoshaver a Dayton pick?
I think that was
Was
right
that
at
his
the
first
transition.
one, right?
Yeah, I think
that
that was
may
right
have
at the
been
transition.
right there.
So
I don't have it
just
written.
throw
I
him
don't
on
have
the
him
pod
down.
too.
He may have been later than first round, so I didn't write his name down. And he didn't
Hochevar's
do a
number
whole
one
lot as a
pick.
starter.
Yeah, he's number one.
Well, then he must have been just before. He may have been
Yeah.
06, the first,
Probably
maybe
so.
that first technically maybe Dayton draft, but not Dayton. Kind of just said, I don't know much, but you
Right.
guys do your thing in that one. So, but hopefully 2018, they got 4 first rounders there, and then maybe this in 2020, hopefully Asa Lacy. Hopefully these 5 guys change the narrative of the Royals can't develop starting pitching.
Well, that's also throwing out like the Alec Marshes, the Austin Coxes, the John Heasleys, the John Bolins. I mean, they still have other dudes in there that could be guys, could be dudes that we're starting to see in spring training a little bit more and pitching well too. So once they get another good season in minor league baseball under, and they may be in the mix as well. Angel Zerpa, a name I've never heard before this 40-man roster.
He's on the
edition,
40, man.
He's there.
Oh, whoa.
But yeah, I do understand the concern because that track record is as good as quarterbacks for the Chiefs. Not good.
Until before Mahomes, pre-Mahomes Chiefs drafting of QBs. Exactly.
But Mahomes just changes everything.
Just takes one. So you get maybe, just takes one seat, maybe one draft alone could be just all it takes with the that 2018 draft.
That's right. So yeah, we'll have to see how that all kind of turns out. I think there's certainly a reason for pessimism in both the wave of pitchers coming up, but also the Royals in general. We could totally understand the arguments in the cases to be pessimistic about them, but let's just try to be positive for just a little bit longer. Let them go out and show us why they're going to lose 100 games again before we just jump to conclusions and say that Bobby Witt Jr. is not going to come up because it's a wasted season anyway, so it's going to be a wasted season. Bobby Witt, I don't want to hear it. It's time to go. Time to go. Optimism from here on, positive vibes, sending it out to the universe, will it into existence. Let's go. Yes. And maybe if that happens, we're going to start talking about some down the road, maybe some new Royals Hall of Fame candidates that are part of this group that we're talking about. The Royals last week announced that pretty much 7 players were eligible for vote to be in the Royals Hall of Fame, inducted to the Royals Hall of Fame. To get in, they have to play for the Royals for 3 seasons and account for either 1,500 plate appearances or 3,000 innings pitched. Those 7 players are Carlos Beltran, Billy Butler, Kyle Davies, Johnny Damon, Jeremy Guthrie, Luke Hochevar, and Yordano Ventura. Currently, there are 26 members in the Hall of Fame and only 19 players in that Hall of Fame group. So we're going to kind of give who we're going to vote for out of that group, why, and maybe tear each other down while we're in the middle of it. So, Kitty, I'm going to start with you. Who's got your vote to join the Royals Hall of Fame this season?
I've got Carlos Beltran and Carlos Beltran alone on my ballot. That's it. I mean, the biggest issue with him was just he got young, or he was about to age out of the price out of the Royals, I should say.
Mhm.
And so they had to trade him after 6.5 seasons.
Mhm.
But man, those 6.5 seasons of watching him play ball was fun.
So good.
I was legit. And I think when I was looking at the Royals franchise page on Baseball Reference, he was around the 11th or 12th rated Royal in WAR.
13th. I got
Was
it.
it
I had it
13?
on my
Okay,
note.
12,
Yep.
13. I mean, so to me, he's there. He was good enough. I mean, God, I wish Howard Baird wasn't a dummy when he traded him away for what he got back, but seemed like he could have made a little more impact even by getting traded away. Could have been more of an impact from Beltran if he had a better GM at the time.
There's stories of first they had an extension that they thought that was
Right.
going to get worked out with them, and for some reason
I've
didn't.
heard that.
And then there was a trade with the Rangers where it was going to be like Michael Young, like decent players.
Better
And
players.
that fell through. And then we went and dealt him to the Astros. Was it? It was Astros, wasn't it?
Astros, it was a 3-teamer. I think Oakland was part of it too. But we got John Buck, Mark Tehan, and Mike Wood. Oh,
I
man,
mean-
what a trio.
Hey, they were on the team for a long time.
They were. Old T-Bags. He was around for a long time.
His career, man, he crashed out quick.
Yeah, it did.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
I figured he came out, played pretty well when he came back to the Royals initially, but
Mm-hmm.
quick death for him. So I'm Beltran only. The other guys, sorry. I'll let you guys, maybe we'll talk some more, but that's my Beltran alone for me. That's it.
Well, to be honest with you, my first run through, I didn't think any of these guys were in it.
Okay.
And then I kind of started looking at it, kind of setting the bar. Brian and I talked about it, like going off of who's already in type of thing. We did
Mhm.
say that Beltran was 13th in Royals franchise and WAR with 24.8. So I think I did come around. He's ahead of like 6 different guys who are already in. So Beltran's got to get in. I don't like that he's a journeyman. He played for 7 teams total. But he did come up as a Royal, so I think that he should be part of the Royals Hall of Fame. I
Mhm.
do also think that Giordano gets some kind of honorary member type of thing. He's kind of a weird thing because his range of outcomes prior to his death was vast. It was Adalberto Mondesi vast. He very well could have been a Cy Young candidate at some point. He also might have been traded for a bag of balls. We were just done with his weird antics there for a little while.
Right.
There was plenty of trade talk back when he was still with the Royals, but I do think that with his tragic loss, I think that that's one of those olive branches or kind of morale boosters for the fan base as well, to kind of a good remembrance of him as well. So I think he'll become an honorary member of the Royals Hall of Fame at some point.
Yeah, he was
I feel
on my
he'll be
list.
first one.
He was on my list of I'm not going to be upset if he gets in.
Right. I don't think
Like, I
anybody
can't
would.
imagine anyone's going, oh, whoa, that's ridiculous. But I could also see him not getting in, and like, okay, he's only pitched for 3 seasons,
Uh-huh.
so there's that. But so
Yeah.
he's that case where no matter whichever way it goes, I'm fine with whatever happens.
100%. Yep.
The other guys
Brian?
could kick rocks.
Brian, where are your votes coming from, or going to, I should say?
Well, anytime these debates come up of whether they belong in the Hall of Fame, I always have to look at, well, who's in the Hall of Fame already? Like, because every sport across, I mean, they have different standards. Sometimes bums get in. Sometimes you have to be the true elite to get in. So I go back and scanned over the performances from our current Hall of Fame members, and boys, let me tell you, we've got some absolute stinky hitters in this Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm going to piss off the olds because there were
Those olds don't listen to us, Brian.
there were
They don't
some
know how to get podcasts.
Yeah.
there were some fan favorites through the years, but Freddie Patek and Frank White were absolutely shit at the plate.
Yep.
They might as well be great. They won some Gold Gloves. They won All-Star appearances. But when I say they were bad hitters, I mean they were basically on par with Chris Getz. And any fan of the Royals in the past 10 years knows how bad we wanted to get rid of Chris Getz because his bat stinks. I mean, Chris Getz, he batted .248 with a .305 on base percentage. Freddie Patek, career with the Royals, .241 average, .309 on base percentage.
Well, it's different era, right? Different era.
Frank
There
White,
you go.
career as a Royal, .255 average, .293 OBP. He didn't get on base 300. I mean, Jesus, we let these
And then-
guys in the Hall of Fame because we like them, and they played for the Royals for a long time.
Mhm.
No one valued walks back then. It was a different game. Different game.
It is crazy to me. So, like, I look at this list, I'm like, well, based on their performances, let them all in.
Yeah.
But no, that's not where I'm going.
Everyone but Davies, come on in. You're coming in.
Yeah,
Coming to the
like,
Hall
Hal
of Fame.
Davies, you get out of here.
So the other
Who let you in here?
the other observation was either you're guys like that, they're fan favorites. You played here 10 more years and you're a really good player, at least in
Mhm.
some capacity, or you were really good in your short time. The shortest time I saw here that was in the Hall of Fame was John Mayberry, had 6 years here. And I mean, he had a 132 OPS plus with his team with the Royals. So that guy mashed. He put up legit numbers. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah.
I look at that, and then you look at Butler had 8 years here. Beltran had 7 years here. Damon had 6. So they're all kind of, if they performed while they were here, get them in, right? Damon had a 101 OPS plus. He was never really considered elite while he was here. Beltran was a 111 OPS plus, but you said he contributed to defense too. For me, he's right there on the border as far as getting in and out. I would say his game was probably similar to Amos Otis, but Amos spent 14 years here, so he was obviously a legend. He ended with a 118 OPS plus. So Beltran's right on the line for me. I voted against him on that in this just because
Wow.
Jeez, gross.
he became a great player after he left here. We got half a year
he was so
of his
good.
first All-Star season.
Yep.
He traded him during his first All-Star season. And it pissed me off so bad. I'm still maybe bitter, and maybe that's why I didn't get my vote. It wasn't any fault of his, but that still grinds my gears.
Sure.
But I am absolutely putting Country Breakfast in. He gets my vote.
Whoa.
Country Breakfast didn't get the respect he deserves because he played on horrible teams, but he was
And he
almost
only played DH.
he was almost the exact same player as Mike Sweeney, and Mike Sweeney is in the Hall of Fame. They have almost identical numbers. If you look at their numbers as Royals, Sweeney, 299 average, 369 on base percentage, 120 OPS plus. Butler, 295 average, 359 on base, 119 OPS plus. I mean, we're talking about the same guy if you talk about results. And Mike Sweeney had the longevity here, so he gets to be the no-brainer, even though half the fan base hates him because we chose him over Beltran.
I'm in that group. I'll put Butler in, take Sweeney out. That's what we're gonna do. We can just replace
Oh,
him.
there we go.
Problem solved. I was just gonna look up.
Yeah, Butler was on my list. I put him as close, but I ultimately left him off. I mean, I didn't realize, how solid of a hitter he was, because he was just so. It's one of those. They pump up. Every team pumps up their own prospects.
Yep.
And Butler was the guy they drafted, the guy they developed. He was just raking in the minor leagues, and he got to the majors. He hits 299. Like, ugh.
He was viewed as a disappointment.
I wanted this guy to hit 330 when he came
Yep.
up here, and he never did. So, just kind of, to me, ultimately, he got hyped up too much for me as a fan. So then I always thought he was a disappointment, even though he was actually just a solid major league hitter for so many years.
So
Yeah.
here's the big hitter against him. Mike Sweeney had a career UZR per 150 rating of minus 2.7.
We talking about
So-
first base defense?
Yes, we are.
Come on.
We are watching. We
Get
are
outta
talking
here.
about that. Billy Butler was a minus 55.6.
He didn't even play enough to get that bad, you wouldn't think.
Hey, hold on. No, that's wrong.
He debuted in left field. I mean, the guy has range.
That was in the outfield. He was a
Oh,
negative
the left-
55.6
The
in the
left
outfield.
field. Oh my God! Give him a frying pan instead of a glove. It'd be
How was
better off.
that game?
Here you go. He was a negative 4.9 career UZR per 150. So
What do
still,
they know?
I mean, that's really close to your
It's-
case still. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
he's
right
still
there.
not that bad. Sweeney was much more of a brick wall at first base. Ball bounces
Sure
off him,
seems
not
like
his
it.
glove.
He came as a catcher, so that mentality makes sense.
But my other
Yeah.
takeaway from this was what's really going to be difficult is how we judge the guys that were on the 2015 team.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many of those guys get in? Because, I mean,
Salvi,
Locane gets in from
Locane,
Hosmer?
Hosmer probably
Moose.
gets in. Moose is on that Pop.
If Hosmer
Moose is
gets
probably
in, Moose got to, right?
close.
Here's my big one. I
Danny
talked
Duffy.
about
Alcides Escobar.
Alcides Escobar. He's basically the same hitter as Freddie Patek and Frank White, and he was known for his defense early in his career.
He just had such big hits in the postseason, and
He was ALCS MVP.
it'd be hard. That's a tough one. Yeah, that'll be interesting. See what happens.
If
then.
we're gonna look at who's in there now, I mean, Alcides Escobar has to be in there.
Jesus, that Hall of Fame group is going to double in size.
Alice Gordon's in.
Yeah,
obviously.
Alice Gordon is definitely in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Johnny Gomes definitely in.
Waiter. Johnny Gomes. Omar Infante. I mean, might as well.
Paulo Orlando.
Paulo Orlando. Sure.
Alex Rios.
Josh Willingham. Let's
Heroes.
just do it. Raul Ibanez. There it is.
Aoki.
Oh yeah, Nori. Nori's got to get in. He just brought so much joy to the fan base by getting balls to him
He
in
really
the crank
did.
all the time.
I can't believe how many times he took him to the D.
Spinning like a top when he missed the ball.
Yeah, I do miss Nori Aoki. He was a blast. And he was, I mean, his first year here was pretty productive.
Yep.
Got exactly what you wanted from him. So yeah, that's our Hall of Fame votes that we're not going to get to cast officially would have fallen. Congratulations to Carlos Beltran and Billy Butler. You get out right now. Batting coach for the Idaho Falls Chukers, by the way, Billy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That'll help him.
That's we're gonna close out the clearing the waivers segment here, and we're gonna get to shenanigans right after this. And we're back, ready to start the lone shenanigan we have for the night. We're gonna bring it back to the waiver wire draft. We have to hear that Creed like theme song first. I mean, it hits every time. Hits me right in the feels.
A good one.
We missed the draft last week. We heard from you. Good listeners. We're bringing it back. We're so sorry we missed a week, but we're gonna waiver wire draft this. After all the things we've said, all the things we're so smart about, and we know exactly and definitively that this is going to happen. There's a lot of things that we don't know. A lot of things that we are blissfully ignorant about, and so we're going to draft the things that we are ignorant about that are undeniably popular. So we're going to get in on that here. I'm going to start with Kitty's going to have the first pick, then Brian, then me. We're going to go snake and see where it takes us here. So Kitty, what is the first thing that you are undeniably ignorant about?
For me, it is how much joy people get out of watching other people play video games.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, I can understand maybe watch it 10, 20 minutes, just kind of see how someone else plays a game that you're maybe not great at just to get some pointers. But I mean, people are just spending hours and hours just watching someone else be awesome. I mean, I guess it's cool to watch someone be awesome at a game, but don't you want to play the game yourself instead of just watch this guy every time? I mean,
Yep.
I cannot wrap my head around it. If you play this game and you like it, but I'm just going to watch this other guy play and for 5 hours tonight.
Right.
That's it. That's all I'm going to do.
And it's not, it's not small. It's millions of people making millions of dollars doing this.
Yeah, these guys just have these huge followings, get sponsored by Red Bull energy drink or whatever else is out there to sponsor these people. It's huge business. I am just shocked by it. But I mean, basically everyone in their probably 20s for the most part is huge into that. I think at this point maybe they're maybe a little younger, but for me, I cannot comprehend the joy people get from watching someone else play a video game.
My theory is it's all the only children in our society because I was probably Brian's number one fan when it came to if he was live streaming back in the day, I was right behind him on the bed watching him hit dingers in RBI baseball or
water
getting
bed.
fights and blades of steel. So I understand that aspect. So that's my theory. This is just all the only children that didn't have older siblings growing up that wouldn't give them a turn on the sticks.
That's good.
That's my theory.
That's a good.
Brian, what's your number one pick?
I'm going cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Bitcoin, Doge, like different versions of this cryptocurrency. I don't understand it one bit. It seems to be hot in the streets with the young ones again. Probably the ones watching Twitch and watching video games. I mean, I've looked up multiple times, like trying to understand what this is. Like, I get like 4 sentences in and I go cross-eyed. Like,
Yep.
I don't understand it. What's it based off? Why does it go up and down? It's a form of currency that you can't always just readily get at that price, or like it's priced at this price, but you may not get that if you cash out. It's like, what the hell is cryptocurrency? I don't get it. I don't want to get it. Like, I don't want to put any money into it because it just sounds like a gigantic scam. So count me out on cryptocurrency. I'm ignorant to it. I don't want to get it away.
Right. I remember that was probably about 2 years ago when it had its first real big spike and then drop and then kind of rebound a little bit. And I was asking some guys at work about it because one of these guys was a younger guy. He's, oh yeah, it's blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of all of a sudden my eyes just got glassy and I just lost every ounce of brain power in my head at that point. And that was back when it was, I think, around $2,000, and now it's at 50,000 for a Bitcoin. So I should have just trusted this guy and bought a couple.
Yeah. So why? The other thing is, like, there's so many of them now. Why is there still just like 1 or 2 main ones? I don't understand that. Why did they catch on? The other ones didn't. Seems just as viable for my dumb brain. So who knows?
Yeah.
Same here.
My first pick might get us canceled. Might get us thrown us off the internet at this point. Because for the life of me, I don't understand what and why K-pop is a thing. It's it's fine music. I'm not saying it's not good music. I'm just, their following is so powerful.
Oh yeah.
So plentiful. They have so much impact. And yet I couldn't even begin to tell you, outside of BTK is what that the Bane one that has like 17 members in it for some reason.
The BTK I know was from Wichita, which I don't think we want to bring him.
Oh, that's true. And I know it's not B2K because that's the R&B group from back in the day, right?
Could be. I don't know.
But every day, one of them has a birthday on Twitter, and it's #1 trending every damn day. There's another member has a birthday, and it's trending again. So, K-pop, I don't understand it, but it is undeniably popular.
Oh yeah. Huge. I'm in the same boat.
And if you say anything bad about it online, they will come for you. Yeah. Just like the Beehive.
I wanted to go ahead and just be like, this is my fault. I'm not saying anything against K-poppers. This is me. This is something wrong with me, not you.
Be very careful how you hashtag the preview of this episode.
Yeah. I'm not interested. I get buried.
Hashtag K-pop stinks. Hey, all traffic is good traffic.
Oh no. Oh no. I hope we don't have a transcript running through this because we just got Googled and we're done. My next one here is relevant because recently there was a thing pop up with the Royals, not the Kansas City Royals, but the British ones. I have no interest in anything that they're doing. I understand that they are very important to history. I don't understand why they still are a thing. They have no power. They're just basically celebrities in for the sake of ceremony. So I don't understand it. It's a thing. A lot of people, it was blowing up social media for the last 4 or 5 days, and I don't have any idea what it is about. So that's fine. I'm just going to sit over here in my pod.
I don't understand the obsession with it.
Yep.
For Americans.
Yep.
You're British. Yeah, go all out. Obviously, it actually means something to you. But for the Americans to obsess over it the way they do, I mean, it was the same way when Princess Diana was around with Prince Charles. I mean, it was an obsessive situation with Americans then. We got freedom from them. Who cares about the royals? Screw them. Don't need them.
That's a good point.
The hatred runs deep in Kitty.
Even though I got this European photo.
I was going to say, Captain Europe there is all of a sudden very anti-British. I guess they did secede from the EU, so it makes a lot of sense now.
There you go.
Josh, I had the Royals as my next pick.
You did.
Yes.
Well, you were the one.
They were on my list.
They were on my list. Interview like it was something that was supposed to be something everybody should know.
Well, my wife's one of them that's obsessed with the royal family. So even even being in this house, I still don't understand the obsession. Like Kitty said, I don't know why Americans would obsess over a system that puts in charge a king or a queen that no one else can be unless you're born to the right parents. I mean,
Yep.
it's so un-American how they choose their king and queen. That's
They're still American. They're still some American royal families, if you will.
there we go.
We'll need that isolated and popped in one of our new theme songs one of these days.
Yeah. But to your point, like, how do they make money? Like, how do they get?
Yeah.
Do they have power over
The
anyone?
institution.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called? What do
I
they
mean,
call it?
They make millions, and I
That
have
sounds
no idea
right.
why. They don't get
Yeah.
they don't get taxes paid from the right.
They don't give like sponsorships to like Sherry Berries or anything, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where their money comes from or what they do.
MeUndies.
That's right.
MeUndies. All right, Brian. What is your where do you right?
All right, since you stole my next pick, I finally got to put out there my embarrassing pick because this truly makes me ignorant, and that's I've kind of got a good grasp of it now, but it's embarrassing how far into my life I went without having a good grasp on law terms.
Mm.
So, like when a headline would come out and say so and so was indicted on murder charges, and I have to think about it and say indicted. Like, is that good? Is that bad
Yeah.
for them?
I think you mean indicted, Brian, not indicted.
Addicted, yes.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, if you hadn't heard that word before and you write it yourself, you're immediately gonna get that one wrong.
It's like it's like as bad as like medical terms. It's something you don't hear like
Yep.
every day, and so like someone says the tumor's malignant, and I have to be like, are we supposed to celebrate or am I supposed to be crying right now? Because I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I have to look it up every time. Like I don't
And
hear it
even-
often enough to retain a spot in my brain.
Sure.
Even the medical, when you get a prognosis, it's negative. That's a good thing.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that's another medical. That's ridiculous too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's negative.
legitimately went
damn it.
14 years of my life thinking that cancer and surgery were the same thing. I probably confused a lot of people when I told them so as cancer when they were just having surgery.
That's a tough break.
That is a tough break. But
Yeah, I
hey,
remember-
I set the bar low, so when they realized it wasn't cancer,
Boom.
everything's
Huge-
fine now.
Huge relief.
They just had a little knee cancer.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it took me a while for the acquitted versus indicted to really
Yeah.
set it in my brain too.
Yep.
Acquitted, yep. Embarrassing long.
It is what it is. That's fine. Kitty, number 2 pick. 2 and 3.
I'm gonna go with why the hell are TikTok dances so popular?
Ooh, that's a good one.
They all just look so damn stupid.
Uh-huh.
They're just
Ooh.
done.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my god, it was hilarious. What did we just do? I just don't get it. Oh, I'm so old.
Kitty's is just old man yells at cloud.
Oh,
Yells at
how
young
dare
people,
you young kids do stuff.
Get off my lawn.
I guess I don't get it. Obviously, they're having a hell of a good time making all these dances, so good for them.
Sure. Yep.
But I
Not
have
hurting anybody.
I don't get the enjoyment of it or what makes it so much fun to do most of the time cringeworthy dance.
Yes. Because there's some people that are very good at it and very funny, entertaining, but there are so many people who are just basic bitch dances.
So many
to
more
some-
people that are
God.
basic bitch.
It's so stupid.
It's bizarre.
Yep, that's a good
Stop
one.
wasting my time.
Kitty, what's your third old man pick?
I'm gonna go a little slightly different than this time. Something that's very popular. I don't understand after living in House BK for a couple years. So many people have only one TV in their living room. What a bunch of idiots.
Idiots.
I mean, it's hugely popular. Like most houses I go
Yeah.
to,
Yep.
one TV in the living room. One.
People come into my house and be like, "Ooh, 2 TVs." Like, yeah. I mean, what's wrong with
I
you
mean-
that you don't have 2 TVs in your living room?
I went a solid 36 years of my life or so with only one TV in my living room.
Yep.
And I would do at the same time when I would watch baseball, I'd have Royals game on TV usually, and then I have another random baseball game on my laptop. So I was already watching 2 screens.
Sure.
Yep.
Didn't dawn on me just to buy another damn TV and put it up because that'd have been way easier. And I could have had 3 screens with a laptop.
3
I mean,
screens.
Jesus.
Get
What
your
was I
phone
doing?
involved. You have 4.
Oh man, that's so exciting just to think
Sure.
about. I mean, how do these people watch the NCAA tournament at home?
Yeah.
One
good
TV.
point.
What are you doing?
Yep.
So
Gotta go to the bar.
that one,
Gotta go to the bar.
I'm okay with that choice, but
Yep.
I mean, every night of the week, there's usually more than one sporting event on TV at a time I can watch. So I needed at least 2 TVs to get my daily fill of sports.
Sure.
And it's great for relationships. You put on what she wants to watch with sound, and you get your sports on the other TVs.
That
Yep.
is it's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, you can watch all the baseball you want without sound because baseball is one of the easiest sports to watch without sound.
100%.
100%.
Yep. Brian, back to you.
Oh, do you take a second? Oh, yeah. All right. This is something that breaks my brain every time I see it. I don't know if that falls into the popular category, but every time I'm reading, I see Worcester, Massachusetts. And then I hear people say Wooster, Massachusetts. And it breaks my brain. How do you look at that word and say Wooster?
Wooster.
There's nothing about that word that says Wooster except for the W that starts it and the R that ends it. Everything in between, it just gets ignored. Wooster. Like, and it's, I mean, if you've ever talked to anybody from the Northeast, they know Wooster and they want to talk about Wooster. And it's like, why do you say Wooster? Someone explain that to me because I don't understand it.
It's a good point. What, out of curiosity,
especially
what brought that to your head? Like, what have you seen lately that made that remind
I
you?
don't know. It came across my timeline this past week, and for the 9,000th time, my brain broke because I said, "Okay, I'm going to type this into Google, and it's going to talk to me and tell me how this." If you do the Google Translate and hit the audio button, it says Wooster.
Huh.
Wooster.
Excellent.
W-U-S-T-R.
Interesting.
Wooster. I don't understand Wooster.
I mean, especially from a group of people that love to put R's in words that they don't need an R in. With,
They just
We'll go
completely ignored the R. Worcester. It should be Worcester. Worcester?
it's got to go back to stupid old England days. Stupid countries that kicked out of town.
Goddamn royal family once again.
I mean, got us again.
Got to be them. It's got to be them influencing America.
The opposite
Still.
of the gift that keeps on giving.
Damn
It's the thorn that keeps on sticking. Wooster. All right. I think that's the title of the episode.
You didn't think that would be going to come up this episode, did you?
I did not. I
Did
was not
not.
ready for that.
I'm not a big NBA guy, and I have no idea what this Top Shot shit is, but it's, by God, I mean, it goes right up to cryptocurrency. I don't, for the life of me, understand why it's a thing. Like,
Mhm.
it's like cryptocurrency meets trading cards, and I can,
Yeah.
we collected trading cards back in the day. We didn't stand in line on our phones digitally waiting for the release of some shitty like digital highlight video that is apparently has just some fluid value. I don't understand it. I will never understand it because I'm not
No.
ever going to touch it.
I don't understand what would make a highlight GIF be so expensive
Desirable.
or go up in value.
Yeah.
I mean, is there only one now of all time that you can get? You can't just type in online what you want to, you can get it yourself. I just don't see why this would be. Again, yeah, I'm with you 100% on this. I don't understand why why it would go up in value.
Yeah. It's
Because
not
I saw-
like
I
it's
saw
not a
something
product that is a limited resource. It's on your phone, on your computer. It's nothing. It's in the ether. What the fuck? I don't get it.
Because I looked it up. I saw that. Looked something up, and one of the guys, some guys spent $170,000 over a 6-month period on a bunch of them, and all the stuff he spent. I'm not sure not all of them made money, but the $175,000 he spent is now worth $22 million.
I mean, what is that?
Somehow, I don't know how. I don't know why.
To whom?
Right? Who? It's kind of like, what was it when that the creator of Spawn bought that like A-Rod's home run
Right.
baseball or whatever for
Yeah.
$500,000. Todd McFarlane, when he bought, okay, you're the only one bidding against yourself for this
Right.
baseball. I don't think when you try
You're
to sell it
setting
in
the
30
market.
years and no one cares about it, you're
Right.
Mhm.
worthless now.
Yeah, I
So
don't
weird.
understand it either.
I'm gonna stick with sports. I got two more things that I could go with, but I'm sticking with sports on this one. And I'm just gonna say, like, the sports talking heads. Like, we are all very aware of what they're doing. They're clickbaiting. They're trying to get in under the skin of certain fan bases just to get you to watch their show or retweet them or dunk on them and whatever. How is it still happening? Skip Bayless got another huge contract extension. He's going to
Yeah.
get another new show, and he is the worst. Colin Cowherd is the worst. None of them know what they're talking about more than any of us do at this
Yeah.
point. So I don't understand how we're still perpetuating this as a society, let alone allowing them to be paid millions of dollars to talk shit. We don't deserve millions of dollars to do what we're doing. They
Well,
damn sure don't.
Comparatively, I think we do.
I mean, it's just as
But
good a quality.
I mean, because they don't do any analysis. These guys,
No.
they just do a random opinion,
Storyline.
shout at each other about it, and that's
Yep.
it. They don't do any analysis at all,
Well,
which
that's
is
a-
crazy to me.
That's my biggest problem, though.
It's the
with the-
easiest gig in the world.
Like
It's the
Skip-
easiest
Skip
thing to
Bayless
do.
is not even random opinion. He
Yep.
doesn't even believe what he spouts. Like he
Right.
knows it's just going to get a reaction out of people. Like
Right.
there are so many dumb people that watch those shows that how can you he doesn't believe that shit he's saying. Why
Yep,
are
there's
you
no way you
watching
can.
him? How
Yeah,
is he getting
Coward.
$8 million to say
Eight
shit that he
million.
doesn't believe?
That's incredible. It just goes to how ridiculous the ratings on that show somehow still are that he's on.
Yes.
That they
So
can pay him
dumb.
that much money. It's insane.
And I refuse to believe that it's just like bars being on during the afternoon, so they're
Right.
just getting ratings that way. I refuse
Mhm.
to believe that because they're still. I see it pops up on timeline every day. They interact with their stupid takes. They retweet them to dunk on them to get. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Because
It- but-
ESPN wanted to get him back.
Right.
And
Yeah, they're like,
at
"We
a
can't lose
time
him."
when they're laying off people for money, they
Yes.
wanted to
Yeah.
pay him money to come
Yeah.
back and argue with Stephen A., which also doesn't believe in anything shit he says.
Right.
Right, you're laying off journalists to hire Skip
Mhm.
Bayless for $8 million a year. Good call, ESPN.
God.
Good call.
Dumb idiots. Kitty, what's your final pick? I'm sorry, Brian. What's your final pick?
All right, I'm going to stick with the money theme here and sports theme here. I don't understand why the NFL salary cap is such a mystery. We have resources, we have people that study this like nonstop and say, we think we're pretty close, but their numbers are never exactly what the actual salary cap is. And as a guy who likes math because there's one right answer and all the other answers are wrong with math equations,
Mhm.
how can we not figure out exactly what the salary cap with every team? How is it so complicated that we can't figure out what the actual salary cap is
Yep.
for each team? Like they got 14.1 million at this site. They got 15.2 at this site. Like what? It should be a simple freaking equation to
Yep.
understand what the number is. But if you're not in the NFL, you don't know what that exact number is still. And it's a mystery to me. And it drives me insane that we don't have that information readily available for everyone because it's got to be a simple equation. Here's the contract. Here's the money that goes towards the cap. Let us see what that is, please.
Yep.
Yeah, what kind of backroom deals went down that hid $100,000 from people's contracts that somehow
Yeah.
aren't being reported for salary cap purposes online? Like, what is happening?
And
Doesn't
to
make
what
doesn't
end?
make any sense.
What's,
Right.
who gains from not knowing the stupid money? Like,
Because the NFL knows it, they just somehow don't put it out.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are
drives
going
me
to
insane.
tax you or fine you when you go over.
They can't get our taxpayer money whenever they realize how open the books are. They can't get us to pay for their stadiums and stuff.
Yeah.
Kitty, bring us home with your final pick.
I'm going to go with getting electronics the day they are released.
Yeah.
It's the super long line for the new iPhone, or what was the PS5 that came out. Just
Still impossible to find.
which is that one I guess makes a little more sense when the demand is so high and the supply is so low. But iPhones, there's a lot of iPhones that are coming out.
Yep.
you don't need to stand in line for 12 hours the day it comes out to get one because they're going to have more tomorrow.
Yep.
They'll be there.
Those-
They'll be
those
there
small
tomorrow.
Malaysian hands are still just
Yeah,
knocking
they're-
out Apple
they're fast.
iPhones.
They are fast at work over there in Asia.
sure
You're
are.
good. You'll be able to get one tomorrow.
No worries.
Well, that one, every time I see the lines for the new iPhone, like, come on, guys. Come on.
We're better than this.
You're supposed to, it can't be that important to get like, what is that iPhone going to do that's so ridiculously better that you need to waste that much of your time to get in line and just stand for 12 hours and then, oh, all right, yes,
This
I can
one
now
has
do
2
this.
cameras.
Oh, it's a double camera.
Look
It's so much crisper. My photos.
They
I
have
can't
pros
wait.
now that have 3 cameras for your
I
Twitch
mean,
stream,
yeah.
suckers.
What are you gonna do? I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
just gotta get that new one.
Yep.
So yeah, that just always boggled my mind when just. I guess if you got nothing else to really do, get in line for an iPhone.
I think you could rename this draft "Get Off My Lawn."
Yes.
We have a lot of old man
Very much
gripes.
so.
I mean, especially my 4 picks.
It's a fine line between this turning into like an overrated draft or just us being old.
Yep.
It's a very fine line that we had to walk. I think we did a great job. I think really did.
We nailed it.
Yep.
If only they listen to us.
Right. we know what we're talking about, obviously. Especially when it comes to not knowing things.
Yep.
That's
very
our specialty. That's going to do it here for the Clearing Waivers podcast this week. We do appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to listen to us. We would appreciate it if you pass it on with a friend. Let them know that we exist and that you do or do not enjoy us. Just pass it on. It's fine. It's, we grow on
Let them
you.
judge it.
Yeah. Let
Right.
them have an opinion on it. That's what we're here to do in America. So, pass it on to a friend. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Go check out all the great content over at royalsreview.com. We do appreciate them having us around them as well. Shout out to the Royals Farm Report podcast. They've got some great stuff, including an interview with Alec Lewis from The Athletic this last week. That was really good. So I would pump that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it here. We appreciate it for Kitty and Brian and myself. We appreciate you one more time. Ta-ta for now.